All right, so we are moving into more of the mid game because we already have our opening. The power play, it really focuses on getting extra dice and definitely more mana. If they don't move, you're going to be basically saying, all right, you're not moving. I'm just going to get another Rodden's Fury, and now you're going to have to deal with more dice, but I am getting creatures later. So it allows them that extra turn to get defensive. Like, if they summon a creature, I'm not too worried because I'll just kind of run my creatures into their creatures until they die because 6 dice is... it's going to do a lot, and I honestly have so many creatures here that I can go like 14 rounds of just straight summoning creatures. Um, this is more of the rush play. I I don't know which one is the right one to do, and I think it just depends on what you're facing. And this is going to be more of the experience thing. Um, let's talk about what else we need to do. So some of the fear that I have is an early rush mass spell kind of thing. Um, you'll see this in the next episode, but there are ways that you can start out round one. Try this out sometime with your friends or something like that. Round one, cast a Hero's Favor and Cheetah Speed in yourself. Round one and move one, and then round two, double move and start hurling boulders at your opponent. You can do 2 boulders round two, and if you're channeling 10 mana, I think you can do 2 like very powerful spells turn 3, and you can do a ton of damage. And that's kind of what I'm afraid of right now. Um, I'm going to counter that sort of play with 2 hurl boulders, I think. Um, basically, if I see them, if you see 2 face down enchantments turn 1, you gotta fear the rush, and this is gonna be a good way to say, all right, I'm gonna deal with it. What else do I need? I'm gonna need a wall of some sort. And since we have the force pushes already, I think this is gonna be how I deal with that. You kind of just cage yourself in from the attacks, and I think that's a good way of dealing with a early rusher like round 2 kind of thing. Um, that's if I think they're gonna get super attack spell heavy, which is always the fear. And that just after that, so basically I will round 1. Um, I'll Rajan's Fury, and then before I do anything else, I will make sure that they're not holding their actions and things like that, so I can identify a proper rush. Maybe I'll just bring in beasts. I don't know. You have to hold on to 1. I haven't really figured out quite how to do this correct. So basically, we have 2 hurl boulders and some walls to just sort of, manipulate the board against people that want to not commit so much to a longer game. So some of the next things I guess we can talk about is moving the opponent to get the actual Rajan's Fury off. Summoning a creature is going to do typically 4 to 6 damage, maybe 3 sometimes for the Dark Fiend. So I'm going to say 3 minimum you're going to need creatures out in order to actually want to force push or teleport your opponent. But another way you can do that is with Jetstream. I'm going to put in 2 of these because I think the Jetstream will just be nice for actually pushing him out to get that extra thing, or if there's some sort of mana drain on me or something that I can't take care of, I'm going to do this. Again, I'm not really focusing. I don't really want a weapon for this because I already have battle skill +1, and 4 dice is pretty good. I'm not really going for that. While we're looking at attack spells, I always put in a geyser because if someone decides to burn me a shit ton of times, I'm just gonna geyser myself. The daze is nice, but I don't think I'll be using it for that sort of thing. It's kind of good against rushers, but I'm doing that specifically for burns. Let's see. I think we're good on that. You know what? I am going to put this in Direwolf. I think he's a finisher. Basically, if I have a ton of creatures on him, I'm going to want to get the pet bonus by staying in them, and I'm just going to summon a Direwolf. I like the bleed a lot. I can't pass it up. It's This is probably the one creature you could really critique and say take it out. But I like the Bloodthirsty +2, and I like the Rodden's Fury if I can get that bonus. And the Bleed is just as good as Rot. It's a little bit worse, but I like it. I'm making a choice. It's a finisher. That and Hurl Boulders are finishers. So let's just say I have 3 creatures out. What other things can I do? I'm going to do Mark for Death. The extra dice, it's just nice. It creates something for your opponent to want to destroy, or dispel. And I think that's just going to combo with everything. I'm not going to do that much, but I'm doing 1. Healing. The heal spell is good. If I get rushed, or if I need that extra bit of damage when my creatures can secure the win, the 8 dice is really nice. I don't like the cost of 4 mana. But I don't like this either because until you guys something, a little secret, and I'm sure if you've watched the games, I sometimes get very unlucky. And I don't like relying on dice very much. I just don't like relying on dice to heal because statistically averages just seem to always just never happen. And I'm sure you've been in those games too, where you're like, oh no, I need to heal myself. Good thing I have a ton of damage. Bam, nothing. And you lose the game because of that. I prefer, even though this is going to be less, it's going to cost less spell points, but I'm going to actually go with the Bull's Endurance. This is I need to get that little bit of extra damage. You know, actually there is a tree. I don't like the tree in this case. I actually don't want to give my opponent and his creatures more life, so I'm going to actually avoid the tree. Like, literally, Bull's Endurance is for when I hit 20 to 25 damage. I'm just going to pop this on my mage just to hopefully get that little bit of extra advantage to win. I don't actually see myself using this that much. I need armor. I'm committing so much mana to the play that it's a rush deck, but I actually do want armor in case something happens. I need to actually buff my mage. I'm going to put 3 of these in, and I'm going to start with the Rhino Hide. I don't want to commit too much spell points to armor, so I'm just going to put in a Bearskin too. I don't really care if I get set on fire, have a geyser, that's fine. If I get stunned, I'm still casting everything as quick casts. And if you're stunned, you have a non-attack quick cast spell for both your actions. So I don't even care if I get stunned. So we're just going to do this. So it gives me 4 armor. I think that's going to be about right. The Dancing Scimitar is nice for a defense. The upkeep +1, most of the creatures except for the Thunder of Falcon is going to cost me 8. Even without the... and that's if I have to pet it every round. If I have to pet my creatures, which I'm not going to have to do most of the rounds. So I'm going to put in a Dancing Scimitar. And I always look at this card and I go, how can I make this card fit in? And I think this is an appropriate way because the defense... I'm using it for the defense mostly because if I get meleeed, it's just, hey, I don't want to actually be attacked. And I think the actual dice damage, it'll combo with the pet, because I'll have to be in the same zone as my pet probably. And I think this is just a good way to get that extra bit of dice you need to win. It's a solid, secure, I have the advantage, and I'm going to keep the advantage with this card. I'm going to put 2 of these in. Bear Strengths are pretty much... Everyone uses Bear Strengths. I actually usually, put 1 in each deck. But for this, I'm going to do I have 3 creatures. I don't know if I want more, but I might as well start buffing some of them. It would probably have to go on the pet, and I think making the pet more... you should kill the pet is more advantageous because the pet's going to be a lot harder to kill. And if I give him melee +2, he becomes a bigger target, which is totally fine because I'm not going to have much armor. And if they want to target my pet that's buffed, then good, because they're not attacking me then. I like it. I'm doing that. We're doing a lot of charging. This is a card that I've wanted to... When Fortune Fire came out, I was really happy because this is a nice card. And it has the charge. I'm already teleporting them. The piercing's nice. I don't anticipate the piercing being used too much. But with things like Force Push and Teleport and Jet Streams, this combos really well. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in 2... do I see myself casting 2 of these? Yeah, you know what? I see myself casting 2. Basically, I'm spending 5 mana to get charge 2. If I do use the piercing, which would be very nice, I consider piercing 1 to basically be equal to an average 1 die. That's kind of how I see it. That's what we're doing. So if my opponent does some sort of buddy build or solo build, I'm going to put in an agony. Because this will prevent... This would allow me to go after like a Guardian Angel or something. If they're just defending a lot, then my pets just go and crush the Guardian Angel. The Guardian Angel can't do nothing. I'm just going to put in 1. For my own defense... See, I like Regrowth a lot more because the Regrowth belt, I like the other belts more because it's like tough -2 or critical attacks become normal and they cost the same. It's going to cost me 6 here and it's going to cost me 6 here. This is more vulnerable because more people have Dispels than Dissolves usually, but I like Regrowth more than Regrowth belt because you can have as many enchantments as you want, but you can only have 1 belt slot. So I'm going to actually... I'm looking at how many spell points I have left. I'm going to put in 2. I want 3. Put in 3. Still not sure about this direwolf. I'm actually going to put in 3 bear strengths. No, I'm not. Okay, so if the opponent decides to regrowth or heal themselves... Let's see. I'm going to want some sort of finite life. And this is usually my go-to. It prevents vampirism, it prevents healing, it prevents regenerations. This is just a great card. And it doesn't have any extra cost. They have the totem... Or they have the... what is it? Deathlock? Let's actually take a look at Deathlock. No, because I want to heal myself. And the extra... No, I'm just going to put in Poison Blood. Again, Purify would solve this problem. Because a Purify can take off poison enchantments. So you risk yourself more because of that, but... You know, if they're going to spend mana on Purifies, then fine. I have 2 things that deal poison, and if you already use it on the Rot, because I played so early, then the Poison Blood is going to be a solid thing. And you have to use Dispels then, so fine. Just use Dispels. I've thought about what I wanted, and I think I'm going to only do 2 regrowths. I'm going to put in a knockdown. It's good for getting rid of guards, and it lets me basically... Only 1 mage wand, though. Ugh. Okay, so basically with knockdown, if someone guards, I can just knock them down so they're not guarding, and then I can attack the guarding creature to try and start killing him. I think it's going to be a solid way to do it. Another way... yeah, we're going to do this. Call the Wild. If I have 4 creatures, it's definitely worth it. If I have 3, I'd actually consider using it. I'm going to put in 3 of these. Because I think Call the Wild is going to be good. I don't know. I probably could only, I could probably get away with 2. I'm just going to put in 3 for now, and just see how that works out. Okay, I'm going to have 1 point left. I'm actually just going to put in a decoy. They're great. They're great. I've actually been wanting to experiment with decoy a lot more. They're good ways of just saying, hey, did you think you actually called my play? Now I get mana. And they're actually really good for, like, I guess they're good, but they're just good ways of, they're 1 mana cost ways of getting and testing for reverse magics or things like that. Alright. So I guess here's some of the things I'm thinking about. I basically have an opening that's solid, and I have good ways of finishing the game. I have good ways of putting myself in a position, and like teleport, jet stream, that sort of thing. I'm not sure about the Ring of Beasts. I like the extra mana, but I will rarely use 9 mana to do my combo. I kind of wish I had more mage ones, but they're 4 cost. But I like them because they help me reserve everything. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna call this done right now. I'm at 120, and I don't really know what else I want. I'm not really concerned about conjurations, because if they have a spawn point, I'm just gonna ignore it. Honestly, I'm just gonna keep doing tons of dice of damage every round. And if they just keep summoning bigger creatures, I'm just gonna say fine. I'll probably have at least 1 creature out and have 5 dice or 10 dice of damage right away. I'm not doing a lair because it's so much mana commitment. Although the reason why I like the lair is the same reason why I want the Mage Wand, is because it allows me to have a 3rd option. So basically, I have a creature and Arouse the Beast in my hand. With a lair, I could have a creature from the lair arouse the beast and then dissolve, or or dissolve into the spell. The two cards that are basically like take all. You'll be able to do whatever you want with these cards because there's something to do with those cards. Pretty much after round 4, guaranteed. But I don't want to do it because it's just too much mana commitment, and I can't get the Rajan's Fury and thing like that. So I think the Mage Wand is just the better option, and they cost the same spell point wise, and I don't need the mana. And this one I can't move around, where with this one I can move around. So basically, you would Mage Wand, Rouse the Beast, so then you could have that 3rd option. I'm not too afraid of Idle Pestilence. If it deals 1 damage to me and that's what how they're dealing with my creatures, fine. I don't think, unless they have Chain Lightning or something, they can't kill them all. I'm also not concerned with this because if I have 3 dice or 3 creatures out, the upkeep is not a concern to me. If they have the move upkeep one, that would be scary. But I still don't think this would ruin me in any sort of way. I don't have a weapon, but I have +1. So I have 4 dice, 5, 6 dice, and I could have 7, 8 dice piercing 1. I don't think I need a weapon. It's just going to be too costly. I guess I could consider, what is it, the Staff of Beasts, I think it is. Ooh, I mean, let's see here. I mean, it is good. The extra 2 melee is nice. I don't know if I see myself casting this. It is a later game thing. But I'd much rather force push and then get the extra dice of damage from the Rajan's Fury. Anyway, I'm having a lot of thoughts here, and I think I've reached the point, and I reach this in every single time that I initially build a deck, and that is I'm having a lot of questions. And I think the important thing to do when you're at this point in the game is to play a bunch of games with friends. Like, just play it a bunch and figure out what works and what doesn't work, and then come back and really analyze what's going on with this. And then you can actually start to figure out what sort of weaknesses it has, when you should do certain builds and certain other builds, what you should do with those, like when is it appropriate to go this versus this, or this versus this specifically. And this obviously has more mana, but this one hits faster. This one does more damage. You know, things like that, but it hits later. Um, so this is where I'm going to end the episode, and I hope you guys really liked this, because I feel like this build is on to something. And I hope you guys like it, and if you have suggestions, please let me know. Even if you think it just sucks, let me know, because I think this would actually really work, and you might see in a future episode. I have been playing Octagon some lately, so if you're actually interested in versing me, you can challenge me. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this episode, and you guys take care of yourself. I'll post this link into the forums, and then there's going to be people commenting there, so that's where all the stuff is, the comments about this are. So please check it out. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and try it out.